I mean, or with the Suez Canal issue, right? I mean, there are certain things that you can do and you can't do. I mean, for that one, there was nothing that anybody could be able to do. Some, shipping lines wanted to wait till it was cleared. Some of them said, hey, let's turn and go, from the other side all the way down, etc. So, but of course, I mean, there are a lot of things, but I think the routing, because the world is a huge place and there are several different routings and several different ways. Also, US, for that perspective, is a huge country. Everybody is always talking of US as a country, but actually it's almost a continent, right? And you have the East Coast, you have the West Coast, you have the Gulf. You can also use Canadian ports in order to enter the United States. So, you just don't stick with some single route, because there are also a lot of things which are making a huge difference in supply chain, overall supply chain. This is port situations, congestions.
I'm Wendy Chetty, and today, welcome to our SFL podcast. I'm excited to have Ahmet. He's a co-founder of Freight Lead. He has years of experience in the industry, in the supply chain industry. Together with him, we have product manager Alhamdu from SFL Insights, that we have, that is powered by our CargoWise users. And then just a little feedback about Ahmet. Ahmet, as I said, he has years of experience in the industry. He has titles such as regional director to vice president of DHL for almost 18 years. And now he is an entrepreneur for Freight Lead. So Ahmet, it's always exciting to hear everybody's stories. And for me, it's quite exciting to hear, how did that transition happen from VP to entrepreneur? How does that happen?
Actually, that's the question, I guess, right? But I have to say that it was not easy, or it was. I gave a lot of thought, to be honest, because that was, when you are a VP for a Fortune 500 company, you are in a nice position, you are nicely get paid, but at the end of the day, right? It's a day and night the same thing, and the industry is changing, the world is changing, and then some of my friends, actually, my partner today, came to me and offered that, why don't we do it again? Because I used to have my own company before, almost 20 years back. Together with my partners, we sold the company to DHL. That's how I became a DHL person. Then over the course of years, I was able to get to a VP position of US ocean freight operations at DHL. Then I left in 2018, and I worked a little bit for Panalpina. Then when they get sold to DSV, I told myself, hey, there are a lot of things that, as a global company that I worked for several years, things that can't be done. Industry is changing, so can we do something a little bit different? Can we do something maybe on ourselves, which will be, better for small and medium-sized customers? Because we were thinking, when I was in the global companies, I was thinking that we can't be able to serve those companies because they are very small, they are medium-sized, they are niche, and they were expecting pretty much a perfect service. But globals are more geared towards big customers, repetitive shipments, etc. And then also the industry, it's changing a lot. Now there is an e-commerce in logistics, which was not there before. So we put our heads together and we said that, yeah, let's try. Why don't we do it? But to be honest, it was not an easy transition for me, because I was in a very good comfort zone, to put it that way. But now I'm very happy that I did it. It's been almost 3 years. We are doing great as a company. So what can I say? And I think it's a little bit in my blood anyway.
Yeah. That's actually amazing, Ahmet, to hear that. And as you said, e-commerce has been something new in the logistics industry recently, and a lot of things have changed. So one of the things we've heard, like the latest news by Salvatore, I was listening to his video this morning, and he spoke about the Affinity 5 tanker that was stuck in, the Suez Canal, and how quick that was sorted out by the Egyptians. Now, when we look at it 18 months ago, that was not the case when the Ever Given was stuck there. We lost billions per day for the 6 days. It just shows how much has changed. But I know the circumstances is different and etc. But it also showed that visibility, how important visibility is in the industry, and how it has a direct impact on both customers and organizations globally. I just want to know what are your views on shipment visibility, and how important is it, to this industry, compared to 5 years ago?
Yeah, I mean, I think we can easily say that that is the most important thing right now in entire logistics or supply chain. I mean, we know that there are new companies, I mean, including us, right? We are claiming, or we are trying to tell or bring our customers visibility, and we are telling them that that's where we are making some sort of a difference from others, right? But today, when a person, all of us, when we travel, right, we use Uber, and as an app as such, you can easily see where the driver is even while you are waiting for it, right? So when the visibility of one side of the world is as much, and when you come back to shipping industry, it's still nowhere where it's supposed to be. I mean, of course, we are not being able to put barcodes on the container yet. We can't scan them. So a lot of people, a lot of companies, big companies now, they even become more valuable than a long-term Fortune 500 companies. I don't want to give names, but they are coming straight through visibility, right? They are claiming, they are telling the customers that they are giving more visibility on the shipments where they can be able to see them. But still, we have a long way to go. Because especially in ocean freight, air freight maybe, but still, you can really give visibility up to a point. But after everything hits to the ports, right? In the United States specifically, where infrastructure is a huge problem, trucking is another issue. All those problems, when you put them all together, you can't get that visibility afterwards. So if the only way right now still is putting some devices, into containers or on top of containers with GPS activated forms. There are very good companies actually, which we are also discussing with Freight Lead. Some of them, where we would like to at least use these devices in order to give real full visibility. Because even when we use CargoWise, you all know that yes, we get some details out of either the carriers or the terminals, or there are some timestamps that comes back to us, but still it's not real time. And there are a lot of pinpoints, that you still are missing. So in order to close this gap, we are even thinking to use some of those devices for our LCL boxes, at least, that we are doing constantly, back and forth, as well as our long-term customers, where we have, traditional routes. Within those routes, they have shipments all the time, regular shipments. So we will at least try to close that gap. But I have to tell you that a lot of people are still talking about blockchain. A lot of people are still talking about data sharing, etc. But nobody wants to do it. Legislations are still not there as well. So we are, of course, much better compared to 5 years ago. But are we where we supposed to be when on our day where you can just look at your phone and get things done instantly and see where things are? No, we are not. So we are still, as a company as well, investing on this, like everybody else. But infrastructure as well as other things in the overall industry is not helping us today.
Yes, that's true. Alhamdu, you being in the as a product manager for SFL Insights, and that is a visibility tool. What are your experiences with some of the customers that are coming on board and saying, "Hey, I want this tool"? What are some of the main reasons? Because as Ahmet said, infrastructure has been a problem, trucking has been a problem. We haven't had a smart container check-in yet. Just I think one shipping line has done it so far. still a long way to go. Alhamdu, maybe you can give us your view on what clients are actually looking for in shipment visibility, or why they decided to say, okay, let me take this visibility tool web for for cargoways. What are you seeing?
One of the, based on my experience actually and the interactions that I've had with customers, one of the things that they really like seeing is live tracking, right? Um, Especially live tracking of shipments. So I think for most of them, the idea is, and let me try and break it down this way. So this visibility software that you have, right? Usually you have customers buying it, and then they buy it so that their clients can also use it, right? So a few things that I've noticed is most of them really want to automate the process. So they want to automate the process in such a way that you cut out or you streamline as much as possible your interactions with um, with their clients. Most of the customers want to streamline their interactions with their clients. They want to make sure that the clients are able to access most of these tools themselves. That way, they don't spend a lot of time emailing back and forth with their clients, right? Because honestly, dealing with clients, dealing with customers is can be a lot of pain sometimes. So if you can automate the process in such a way that the simplest things like tracking your shipment, seeing where it is, updating milestones and all of these things, if you can put it in such a way that you automate it and then the clients can do it on their own. That way you're kind of empowering the clients to always check in themselves, right? So two things that I've noticed is they like to see the live tracking because they want to know where their goods are, where their shipments are, and all of these things. And they want to have those. And the second one, from more of an organization or a fight forwarders perspective, is they are looking for ways to automate. That way they can reduce the overhead on, they can reduce all the time that they spend updating their clients and letting them know stuff.
It just, sorry, but it just reminded me as well, I mean, right now, what we are also trying to do on our side in Freight Lead is pretty similar, but we are trying to also combine e-commerce versus international shipping, right? Because international shipping, you are trying to get things, as we discussed, up to a point. It's not 100% there yet, but on the e-commerce side, there are a lot of things that are already 100%, right? You can at least track and trace. You can give the inventory visibility in your warehouse, and then you can just show what you have shipped, what is still waiting to be shipped or packaged, etc. So we have tools for that already under Freight Lead. And now we are trying to write a separate beta tool, actually. We are almost there in order to combine these and show, like SFL is also doing, right, with your visibility tool on PO management that I know. It's pretty much similar to that, but this will be combining the e-commerce part of our customers as well as the international logistics part of it, and then we will be able to hopefully give them visibility through our website, so they can see both their international shipments, where they are, how they are, their ETAs, when they left, etc., and then on the other side, when their cargo arrived to our warehouse. But in between there, that, as I said before, we are trying to give that visibility with some additional tools, tracking devices on the containers. And then after we received in the warehouse, there is visibility there with our other tool anyway. So we are trying to combine it and give them like a dashboard that they can view everything. And as soon as something is sold in their online platform, for instance, they see more it's getting lower on the inventory, they can immediately turn back to us and tell us, hey, let us start shipping this product from where it's coming from internationally. So that's what we are also doing. But the same visibility and what they want to do, especially the new generation. Maybe old generation wants to talk more, or they love emails more, but the new generation they want to go on the computer or their phones. They would like to do everything instantly without talking to anyone, right? So we are trying to catch that as well.
I was on a call earlier this morning, and two things I think that stuck out to me when I was having the conversation with the customers is they like also seeing some sort of business, some sort of analytics added to it, right? Something that you can add to give them like a broader view of their shipments, right? So adding like business intelligence tools to and adding dashboard for analytics. So that way, you give them the opportunity, sort of like a decision making software that helps them at a glance to see, okay, what shipments am I making this month? Which shipments do my clients generally use more? Should I concentrate and add more value to maybe air freights rather than sea? Or am I having more air freights, therefore less sea, and I need to concentrate and increase my, you know, my sea freight operations and all that. So it helps them not only they like tools that will help them make better decisions, but also help them understand the market better as well.
Yeah, so it's definitely going beyond shipment visibility. It's visibility on all types. Visibility to make life easier for your staff, visibility for your customers. For your cargo, etc. And I mean, how I'm being in the industry for such a long time. How in terms of visibility, in terms of shipment visibility, if a route is blocked or a vessel like how the Ever Given one happened or etc. In terms of shipment visibility, what are some of the things like companies can do if they have that real data, real time data or real time visibility with them? What are some of the processes that they can do to maybe reroute the cargo or create a dismantle that barrier that's there?
Yeah, I mean, I even had customers while I was working for DHL who was telling me because their containers was stuck at a port where there was a strike, right? It was Piraeus, I remember like yesterday. And they were even telling us, hey, you guys are DHL. Why don't you just send a helicopter and just take my container from that port where it is stuck with, or with the Suez Canal issue, right? I mean, there are certain things that you can do and you can't do. I mean, well, for that one, there was nothing that anybody could be able to do. Some, shipping lines wanted to wait till it was cleared. Some of them said, hey, let's turn and go, from the other side all the way down, etc. So, but of course, I mean, there are a lot of things, but I think the routing, because the world is a huge place and there are several different routings and several different ways. Also, US, for that perspective, is a huge country. Everybody is always talking US as a country, but actually it's almost a continent, right? And you have the East Coast, you have the West Coast, you have the Gulf. You can also use Canadian ports in order to enter the United States. So, you just don't stick with some single route because there are also a lot of things which are making a huge difference in supply chain, overall supply chain. This is port situations, congestions, sometimes strikes. We recently are already talking about, on the West Coast, still there is something needs to be finalized there. So a lot of people this year started routing from their shipments out of Asia to West Coast to East Coast for that matter, because they thought that, hey, they might got stuck somewhere in some shape or form. So they are trying to look for alternatives. So US is a nice country from that perspective because you can enter US or there is a very nice statistics. Not everybody knows, but do you guys know how many different ways to reach cargo if you want to route your shipment, within the United States, or let's say that it's coming from Asia? Of course, it changes where it's coming from as well, but do you have any guess, any idea how many different ways that you can reach cargo? Just give me a number. 20. Actually, it's 17 different ways, so you are close. But I mean, can you imagine 17 different ways to reach cargo if you want to route cargo, right? Of course, it depends. Let's say out of Asia, it's maybe 10, or out of Europe, it's different. But so while knowing the country that you are in or the continent that you are in and the availability of these routes, you just need to make sure by looking at and when Alhamdu was talking about the data, right? Using that data, wisely, and just giving the customers some more details about, hey, you know what? you are using Prince Rupert in order to reach Canada out of Shanghai, but you can also use Vancouver because, during winter, maybe it's not a good idea, or maybe you can come a little bit south. During winter, maybe you can shift 60% or whatsoever, or you can come through Gulf, all of those, depending on the customer, depending on the data, and as long as you have your knowledge of market, what happens and things of that nature, it's just about using that data. Artificial intelligence is perfect, but somebody still needs to look at it and make some wise decisions with it, right? So we just come into picture, people who has been in the industry for a long time. That's the maybe only thing that I can't explain to the new generation at this point, because they think that they know everything from scratch already, because information is readily available. Yes, but the experience is not there, and with those experiences, you can just guide your customers, and that's what we need to do, right? We need to look at the data. We need to be in contact with our customers. Listening to the customer is number one KPI. So in our company, first you need to listen to your customer and understand what they need, and then give solutions, right? So that's pretty much what I can say.